Hello and thanks for joining me today. Now today I speak on the topic keys to self-development. So we're talking about keys to self-development. And I start with this golden nugget from John C. Maxwell, which says, and I quote, "Self-development draws you towards your destiny," unquote. So what John Maxwell is saying is, as you develop yourself, gradually you start gravitating towards your destiny. To develop means that you become better, larger, bigger in something. And this can apply to physical development or products, abilities, habits, for example. What we need to appreciate for a start is that life is a process. So nobody is born fully matured, but we're born as infants or as babies, and then we grow through the years until we are fully developed. And that is contingent on one taking and applying themselves to common sense in terms of the basic necessities and essentials of growing, food, nutrition, amongst other things. Now the question I ask is, why is it that sometimes in life, people who have fewer or limited skills in a certain profession or in a certain area of life get preferred over people who are seemingly more talented and gifted? Now, the reason I ask this question is because I want us to have a quick look at the relationship between motivation and skill. Which of these two are most important? On the face of it, it might look like skill is really important. But if you have a closer look and you delve into things, you'll find that one's level of motivation in a given situation can override the presence or the absence of skills. So what we're trying to say is that probably the motivation and determination to do things can help people who have less abilities and skills to sometimes triumph and trump people who are seemingly more gifted, more talented. So in life, the point I make this at this point is that it is not so much the experience and the skills that one has or does not have, but the will, the determination, the motivation to improve and then to do better. It is this that will lead people who probably appear to have fewer skills to be able to succeed, where those with more skills don't. Now, one thing that we need to realize is the factors that shape one's life chances and then future and all. As a matter of fact, two things would determine most of the outcomes in life. Both of them relate to the environments that we find ourselves in. Now, there are two environments generally that everybody will get into throughout their life. Now, the first is the environment that one is born into, and sometimes you have little or no choice, as to where you are born. As a matter of fact, we don't have any input into who gives birth to us, who our nuclear family is, the communities that we grow in. Like it or not, you don't choose it. So that is the first environment. The second environment is the one that we can choose for ourselves as we grow up. So, now the first environment, as we suggested, we've got little control, no control probably over that environment. Unfortunately, however, that environment that we have no control in deciding whether we're going to come from it or not, in most cases lays the foundation of our lives and determines much of our destiny. It is said that the first 8 years of one's life are probably the most important foundational years of the person's life. Of course, later on in life, we can make decisions in terms of where we would want to find ourselves and we want to be our friends, amongst other things. And this is why the second environment is important. Now, the opportunity now to make choices in terms of who we associate with and what career path we want to go on. You have the capacity to even change your career path. You can change your course in the university. That is, if university is your thing, for example. Now, because of this, we have the opportunity later on in life to sometimes reverse some of the effects of the first environment. So, if your first environment has had negative impacts and consequences on your life, in many cases there are opportunities to reverse these or to minimize those impacts through the choices that you make in terms of your second environment. There is no point and no use in staying down, blaming other people for the earlier failings, because you have every opportunity now and then later on in life to make choices that would either reverse those impacts or mitigate them, reduce them to the barest minimum. There is a wise old saying that you may not be responsible for falling down, but you are totally and completely responsible for rising up. English author H.G. Wells puts it even better when he says, and I quote, "If you fell down yesterday, stand up today," unquote. Which means that there might be a justification, a just reason why you fell, but the responsibility for rising is yours. There is absolutely no reason to continue lying down because due to circumstances beyond your control, you fell. So this concept of the second environment changing and sometimes reversing the problems caused by the first environment is almost like being born again, because you now have the opportunity to create a brand new environment with brand new choices that can enhance one's life and help one to develop one's potential to the fullest. Now, we must remember the power of the environment that we find ourselves in. It has been said that show me your friends, I will show you your character. Your network determines your net worth. So the people you associate with is important. Right from today, you have the opportunity, no matter how the first environment impacted your life, you can change it and you can reverse it. And it doesn't matter really the circumstances of your birth. You can totally transform and become a brand new person if you are willing to make those choices that leads to those different outcomes. We can do this through these very simple 4 keys that I want to share very quickly with you. Now, the first key is to have a fixed and a definite vision, a clearly defined vision of what you want to become. This might change from time to time. As you learn more, you know more, things change. But then it is important that at every point in life, you have a clear sense of what is your one and most important, the predominant vision around which everything else revolves. Even most importantly, you should be able to articulate this in a statement, in a written statement, which expresses your vision at that point in your life. The second is to be able to reflect on the past. And self-reflection is very important to examine what is transpired over your life. When you do that, sometimes you'll find that there might be a need for a paradigm shift, a complete shift in attitudes, in the way you do things. That this might require a complete realignment of your thought processes, your value systems, and then to focus on the thoughts and actions that will lead you to your clearly identified and defined vision. The past should only provide us with inspiration where things have worked well, and lessons where things haven't worked so well. There is no use being rooted in the past and refusing to move on. Pick your lessons quickly and then move on. The Apostle Paul in the Bible says it brilliantly when he says, and I quote, "This one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before, I press towards the mark." Unquote. So what Paul is saying is, I don't spend all my life brooding, thinking about the past. The past is in the past. But I look ahead. I look ahead to what is ahead of me. Somebody has compared this with when you drive, the front windscreen is big and the mirror inside with which you can see the back is very small, because the main emphasis is on you looking forward, not so much on you looking back. As a matter of fact, even the wing mirrors, which also help you to look behind sideways, are also very small. They are all very important, but not as big and important than the one in front, where you are meant to keep most of your attention if you want to drive forwards and make progress. The third key is the need for one to assess one's values and the choices that one makes from time to time. We need to realize that the choices and the values that we have kept until now have brought us only so far, and thus far can it take us. If you want to rise higher than your current circumstances, then you should be prepared to make new choices and to try new things, no matter the costs and the implications for you. The fourth, the last but by no means the least of the points that can help us to develop ourselves, is to commit to a relentless development of oneself by investing in the development of one's talents, skills, abilities, everything that we are gifted with. Now, we can develop ourselves through an inspired commitment to becoming a better person. So first of all, what is important is that decision to become a better person at all costs. And one of the things that would make that happen is an aggressive acquisition of new and relevant knowledge in all its forms. So we must be aggressive readers. There are some of us that since we left primary school, where we were forced and compelled to read, we've never voluntarily picked a book up to read. There are some people who, if you travel with them, if you go on a 10-hour flight, they will talk throughout. In between, they will go on social media if they have the chance to browse social media whilst traveling, and never will grab a book to read. But there is no excuse. The only way you can progress and become a better person is to get relevant knowledge. One way to do it is to read, whether it's an audiobook, newspapers, physical hard copies of books. Please do, because that is almost non-negotiable. For it has been said that life is like fuel in the tank of a car. How far you can go in life depends on how much fuel you've got in your tank. And knowledge is that fuel that will drive you over long miles in life's journey. Brian Tracy, the great motivation speaker, puts it in this way, and I quote, You have great untapped reserves of potential within you. Your job is to release them, unquote. And my suggesting, my argument this morning, that whatever time you listen to this, is that the choices, these 4 steps, these 4 keys that we've shared, can help you to release the potential, the untapped potential that you've got. Jim Rohn puts it this way, and I quote, "Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills," unquote. So, however difficult the circumstances one finds themselves in, if you've got more skills, you would be able to navigate yourself and your way out of any such situations. I finish off this brief presentation in the very wise words from Robin Sharma, that says, and I quote, "The swiftest way to triple your success is to double your investment in personal development," unquote. So my advice is, invest your time, your energies, your resources in fully developing who you are. And as you do that, you will be surprised who you will eventually become. Well, thank you very much for watching this. I hope you found it useful. And if you did, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any of the videos that we post. Click on the notification bell. You will get an alert anytime anything is posted. And please do share this with your friends and your family. Keep coming back and keep joining us as we try and work towards changing our generation. Remember that you are meant to be the head but not the tail. See you at the top of life. God bless.